Hi Lucy, I'm looking at your design, your first iteration for your hue tint shade assignment, and I'm reading that you used Visual Pathways. Um, so what I see are that you've divided up your composition into primarily magenta and cyan and yellow, and then you have areas of orange. So there's a straight shot and purple, another straight shot and green here, another straight shot with its parents. So you've divided up your composition, oops, that way. Scroll back down. You were worried that the darker areas look like figures on a ground. I don't think so. I think the gradations are working well enough that they don't look like that. And there's kind of a nice transition here. So you get kind of from yellow through a little bit of orange into magenta. I think this is orange, kind of a shade. It would be good if, this is probably the yellow, darkest shades of yellow. It'd be nice if we could, maybe this is the darkest and maybe this is step number 7 in the yellow, and maybe we could get step number 6 in the yellow here, kind of transition so we can see that there is some yellow involved in the shade. And I think that would create a better transparency here. And then moving into the vanishing boundaries between these two steps isn't as good. Maybe if you flip-flop these. So this magenta is here and this shade of orange is here. So these two will vanish very nicely together. And I think these two will vanish very nicely together. And then see how that gradation continues. Now, where you might be having trouble with overallness is like where your gradations don't happen very smoothly. Like you jump from here to here, and I don't think these two steps are right next to each other on your value scale. That would be a huge jump. So take a look at that. So make sure those gradations are very smooth and progressing, nice and evenly. Let's see, where else? So that's working fine. I'm looking for other parts of pathways that gradate from one hue to another. And so there's yellow and green. This looks like it stays in the cyan family, and this stays. So this kind of, for me, looks like the only one that pathway that's kind of blending like that. So you need more of those. You need quite a lot more of those. And I think this works well to do that. So it'd be nice to see it in these other areas as well. You seemed, I feel like maybe purple, well, I was going to say maybe purple isn't well represented, but it depends on what these are, I guess. These darker shades are, do they belong to the purple or do they belong to the magenta? So, and then the same, green seems a little bit separated. I might kind of keep this as kind of the green area and just have one pathway. I might maybe get rid of this segment here or get rid of this segment here. Depends on what you want to do with it. I would probably get rid of this one because you're trying to make a transparency with the yellow and not with the orange. So you're trying to make that transparency happen between the cyan and the yellow, not the cyan and the orange. So that might help that transparency. So you want to make some transparencies using kind of the more middle values, like these middle values here, these middle values here. Now with the yellow and green are kind of a bit farther apart in terms of value. So you have this green, which is, very indicative of green, but when you pair it with a like value of yellow, this one might work. Or maybe the next step down. So the further down, those steps go, the more pea green that turns. So that could be maybe a little problematic, but maybe not. So keep working on those pathways, and then if you can post again before Wednesday, that would be great.